I got married in a flash. My bargain bin husband is a cop. I'm a lawyer. After the wedding, he spent his days arresting people all over the city, and I spent mine getting people out. Until one day, the person he worked so hard to bring in was released by me before his coffee even got cold. He sneered. Attorney Anna. Impressive work. I smiled politely. Officer Ethan. Just doing my job. Before the words had even settled, he pulled me into his arms, his voice low and rough. Wife, shouldn't we head home and do our duties by the book? Chapter 1. My marriage to Ethan started with a highly efficient, brutally practical blind date. He was 29. I was 28. He chased suspects for a living. I argued cases and bailed people out. Common ground, neither of us had time for romance, and both our families were acting like our ovaries were on a countdown timer. At the cafe, we spent 5 minutes confirming expectations. He said, Attorney Anna, my schedule is a disaster. I'm on call day and night. I said, perfect. My clients don't believe in office hours either. Let's not judge each other. And just like that, we formed a strategic partnership. On our wedding night, I fully intended to go through the motions like a normal, emotionally stable adult. Years of handling divorce cases had turned my heart into processed meat. But Ethan's build and that unfairly good face made it hard not to have highly unprofessional thoughts. Under the principle of legal and free, it seemed wasteful not to at least try. No harm in sampling the merchandise. I had just stepped out of the shower when my phone rang. My client was sobbing. Anna, that bastard took his mistress to a hotel. I'm going to catch them in the act. I jolted. Stay calm. Call the police and report suspicious activity. Don't move. I'm on my way. But what if it's over by the time they get there? I turned to Ethan, who had just walked out of the bathroom, hair still dripping. Officer Ethan, feel like working overtime? So in the middle of the night, I took my police officer husband to a cheating bust. At the station, my client slapped the scumbag couple, then broke down crying again. I stayed through the paperwork and the meltdown. By the time I got home, my eyes could barely stay open, and all other impulses were officially dead. Chapter 2. The next day, Ethan was on a normal shift. Thankfully, I hadn't gotten back too late. I had been planning to continue where we left off. Instead, right after dinner, his phone rang. Captain, the suspect has been located. A second later, my phone exploded. Anna, I've been taken in for questioning. Please get me out. We looked at each other and nodded in perfect sync. I'm going to make an arrest. I'm going to get someone released. Those two sentences quickly became our most commonly used phrases. My best friend commented, from the outside, it looks like you're running some kind of arrest and release assembly line. What can I say? Occupational hazard. Pot, meat kettle. On the third day of marriage, I left town on a business trip for a month. When I came back, I instinctively went to my own place. My mom stared at me. Did you two fight? I smacked my forehead. Right. Forgot I'm married. So how are things now? I waved it off. Fine. He arrested his people. I bailed out mine. He treated the house like a dorm. I treated it like a hotel. We played the loving couple in front of our parents. Honestly, it was working. Our families, however, were in full panic mode. If you wait any longer, it'll be a geriatric pregnancy. Ethan, you're almost 30. If you don't hurry, you won't be able to perform. My heart skipped. Wait, what? The internet says men start aging in all the wrong places after 25. Suddenly, I regretted my life choices. I should have gone for a younger guy. No. I picked Ethan for his genes. Opportunities to optimize the next generation shouldn't be wasted. Chapter 3. I hit the gas and headed straight home. My best friend called. "Anna, drinks tonight?" I sighed. Tempting, but I just left court. I'm running on fumes. Go recharge with your officer Ethan. 6'3", built like a tank, he looks very capable. Then she sent me an explicit GIF with the caption, "Whoever you catch is tonight's special." My face went up in flames. To be fair, Ethan's body is ridiculous. The last time he changed shirts, I accidentally caught a glimpse of his abs and that V-line. I nearly reached out just to confirm it wasn't CGI. Right as I was spiraling, Ethan texted. "Your package arrived." It was the exam prep books I'd ordered. "You home?" I asked. "Yeah." Perfect timing. Perfect location. Perfect target. I floored it. He'd actually cooked pasta, sautéed vegetables, and beef stew. He looked a little awkward. "Your mom said these are your favorites." I buried my face in my plate. Yeah, this was good. After a long day, coming home to a man who cooks hits differently. Once we finished, I went to do the dishes. When I came back, he was on the couch patiently talking into his phone. "Yes, ma'am, you need to download the Scam Alert app." "No, I'm not a scammer. I'm really a cop." "Right, once it's installed, you can go to the community center and pick up the free groceries." On my side of the room, I was coaching a client for tomorrow's hearing. "Don't call the judge, Your Excellency. This isn't a historical drama. Court runs on evidence, not oaths. And please don't call me a sorceress. I don't cast spells." We were both busy, like roommates sharing an apartment. Wow. Such a passionate marriage. When we finally wrapped up, he stood. "It's getting late. Want to sleep?" I nodded. "Okay." When I got up, I swayed and almost lost my balance. He caught my hand immediately. "Careful." His hand was big and warm, lightly calloused. He was in loose lounge clothes, but the male energy was still very much present. My heartbeat stuttered. We went into the bedroom. His ears were a little red. "Inside or outside?" he asked. Either's fine." We lay down properly on our sides. Silence. After a few seconds, he suddenly said, "Anna, can I kiss you?" I froze. He was painfully polite about it. I was just about to say yes, when his phone rang. "Captain Ethan, there's a disturbance at a nightclub. Everyone's tied up at another scene. Can you come?" He looked at me, conflicted. "Sorry. I have to go make an arrest." What could I say? "Okay. Be safe." He changed quickly and left. I lay there feeling strangely disappointed. Married for over a month, and we still hadn't even kissed. Fine. I'll study. Independent women grind. I just picked up my book when my phone rang. "Anna, my son got into a fight and was taken by the police. Please get him out. Price is negotiable. Send me the address." "I'm on my way." I grabbed my coat and briefcase and ran. Impulsive young men are my specialty. Getting someone out is all about speed, precision, and timing. Chapter 4. When I arrived, the scene was a mess. Police lights flashed outside the bar. Several young guys were squatting on the ground. I spotted Kyle immediately, in his obnoxiously pink hoodie. Just as I was about to go over, I caught sight of a familiar tall figure in uniform. Ethan? I really should have had him give me a ride. He was talking to a colleague, head lowered. Kyle saw me and lit up like he'd just seen a lifeline. "Ha! My lawyer's here. You're all screwed now." That did it. Ethan turned. Our eyes met. He looked at me, then at the guys on the ground, his brows slowly drawing together. "Officer Ethan." I put on my professional smile and stepped forward. "This is my client. May I ask what he's being charged with? Group assault. Property damage. Obstruction. Ethan's tone was cold and official. I didn't do anything. The idiot tried to stand and got shoved back down. Anna. They grabbed my arm. Look, it's bruised. I glanced at it. You'd need a microscope. Officer Ethan, was there any irregularity in the arrest procedure? My client appears to be injured. Attorney Anna. He cut me off, voice hardening. Body cam was on. Everything was recorded. Your client refused to cooperate. Necessary force was used. Kyle kept yelling, Anna, look. This cop is so mean. Sue him. Get him fired. My temples started pounding. Please shut up. Do you think I'm some celebrity lawyer? And more importantly, he's my husband. If it weren't for you, we might have kissed by now. Ethan shot Kyle a look that could freeze blood. Obstructing law enforcement in the line of duty is a criminal offense. I said flatly, he's right. Kyle went silent. Ethan gave a short order. Take him. Kyle panicked and grabbed my hand. Anna, save me. Oh, now you're scared? Ethan's eyes dropped to the hand gripping mine. His expression darkened. He yanked it away. Click. A pair of shiny cuffs snapped around Kyle's wrists. Chapter 5. Kyle was taken back to the station. As his attorney, I followed. The mediation room was small and stuffy. I sat beside Kyle. Ethan sat across from us, his expression unreadable. Every time I spoke, his jaw tightened. Kyle is a first-time offender. The circumstances are minor. He threw the first punch, Ethan said flatly. The other party provoked him. Still not a legal defense. He's willing to compensate. This isn't a civil dispute. You can't buy your way out of assault. My patience snapped. Officer Ethan, watch your tone. I am exercising my client's legal rights. Or are you letting personal emotions interfere with your professional judgment? Personal emotions? He repeated it slowly, eyes darkening. What kind of a personal are we talking about? The kind where he clings to your hand like it's a lifeline? Outside the room, his colleagues were clearly enjoying the show. Is that Ethan's wife? The lawyer he married in a flash? No way. That's her? So they really are running an arrest and release pipeline. Honestly, they're single-handedly keeping the justice system busy. Someone tried to break the tension and pushed 2 cups of water inside. Captain, Attorney Anna, maybe take a breath. Ethan shot him a look. The poor guy immediately retreated and shut the door. Kyle leaned toward me and whispered, Anna, that cop really hates me, doesn't he? I stared at the ceiling. Kid, he doesn't hate you. He wants to bury you. After a round of tense negotiation, we reached an agreement. Kyle was reprimanded and ordered to pay compensation. As I stepped out, I felt footsteps behind me. The hallway was dim. Suddenly, Ethan grabbed my wrist. I turned. His grip was tight, his voice low. Anna. He's just a client, I said calmly. He's young. He panics easily. He held your hand. The displeasure in his voice was unmistakable. He was scared. Instinct. A scared 22-year-old, he scoffed. I raised an eyebrow. Officer Ethan, are you interrogating irrelevant personal matters during work hours? Then I leaned in slightly, smiling. Or are you, jealous? He froze. His throat moved. After a second, he muttered. You're my wife. Then he turned and walked away. Chapter 6. After finishing the paperwork for the little troublemaker, I looked up and saw Ethan standing at the door. He had changed into civilian clothes, black jacket, black pants. Tall, broad-shouldered, radiating authority even off duty. Sorry for the trouble, Officer Ethan. I'll be taking him now. His expression was dark. Attorney Anna. Impressive work. I gave him a perfectly polite fake smile. Officer Ethan. Just doing my job. Before the words had even settled, he grabbed my hand. No explanation. No warning. He pulled me straight toward the exit. I stumbled. What are you doing? Going home. His voice was low. Then he added deliberately. By the book. Kyle stared, dumbfounded. Hey. Let go of my lawyer. What law are you even following? I'm calling the cops. Ethan didn't even turn around. Marriage law. The drive was silent. So quiet I could hear both our breathing. My phone rang. Kyle again. Anna, since when are you married? You're married. His voice blasted through the speaker. So what was today, huh? Some kind of couples roleplay? And seriously, why'd you marry such an old guy? The car jerked to a stop. My phone nearly flew out of my hand. Ethan's jaw tightened as he unbuckled. I'm going to buy something. He got out, his back rigid. I lowered my voice into the phone. Shut up. Get in trouble again and your legal fees double. A minute later, Ethan came back from the convenience store. He opened the door and handed me a cup of hot milk. I blinked. His fingers were cool when they brushed mine. What did you buy? I asked casually. He didn't answer. Just dropped a small box into my lap. I looked down. Extra large. I immediately shut up. Lowered my head and drank the milk. My ears were burning. Looks like tonight wasn't going to be peaceful. Chapter 7. At home, we changed shoes one after the other. The air between us was thick enough to choke on. Ethan, Kyle is just my client's kid. He's reckless, not important. I'm really not close to him. I broke the silence. He only said, fine. No emotion. No warmth. Watching his tense profile, I couldn't help smiling. This man was ridiculously cute when he was jealous. I stepped closer. Or are you upset that I bailed out someone you arrested? I was just doing my job. Before he could react, I rose on tiptoe and kissed his cheek. Want to kiss me back and calm down? His body went rigid. The next second, he shoved me against the entry cabinet, his tall frame closing in. Just as he was about to lower his head, we both instinctively glanced at our phones. Silent. We were officially traumatized. Attorney Anna. His voice was low, rough. His eyes dark. Then is it my turn now, to do my duty? That depends on Officer Ethan's performance. His gaze sharpened. He lowered his head and captured my lips. From the living room. All the way to the bedroom. Chapter 8. Just a few minutes later. Ethan, you. Seriously. Why did he have to be built like that? After a full round of mental preparation, I took a deep breath. Okay. Let's begin. He looked completely crushed. It's over. Over? I felt myself shatter on the spot. Dear universe, I've been a decent human being. I do not deserve this. Anna, Ethan hesitated. His ears were red to the tips, his eyes filled with panic and self-doubt. I just remembered I still have a contract to review. I'll go to the study. And just like that, I ran. Before I could start crying, I collapsed into the chair in the study. Just as I was about to message my best friend, she bombarded me with voice notes. Younger guys are exhausting. Clingy all day, and all they think about is one thing. So much energy. I can barely get out of bed. I burst into tears. Some people die of thirst. Some drown. Ethan is useless. It ended before it even started. He's tall, handsome, and only lasted a dozen moves. Even a kiddie ride gives you 3 minutes for $1. My best friend was stunned. No way. With my years of experience, Officer Ethan's hardware should be top tier. She paused. Wait, you're telling me Officer Ethan wouldn't happen to be a virgin, would he? So he just crashed? I went completely blank. For a moment, I honestly didn't know how to respond. A nearly 30-year-old virgin? With that face and that body? You think he stayed single by accident? She clicked her tongue. Then it must be age. Things start declining. Men over 25 are basically 60. I grew even more desperate. I want a divorce. I'm finding someone under 25 and in peak condition. I sobbed. Why did I go for an older man? Looks tall and solid, but empty inside. No wonder Ethan couldn't find a partner at his age. I shouldn't have been fooled by that face. If I'd known, I would have worked a few more years and raised myself a sweet, obedient puppy. Chapter 9. While I was still ranting, someone knocked. Anna, a colleague, was injured on duty. I'm heading to the hospital. Ethan was already dressed, clearly in a rush. I blinked. Oh, is he okay? He's at the hospital. Not serious. I nodded. He was already opening the door. I stared at the ceiling, completely dead inside. Summary of my newlywed husband, older, never home, and a 1-minute man. Anna, your life is tragic. Chapter 10. What was worse was being dragged out of bed by work first thing in the morning. The firm had a difficult case. A viral one. A young man had taken his own life after breaking up with his girlfriend. His family and the internet immediately pinned the blame on the girl, calling her a gold digger and accusing her of driving him to suicide. She was cyberbullied until she lost her job. She was barely holding it together. Most lawyers won't touch it, someone told me. The online backlash is brutal. She sat across from me, shaking. I wasn't after his money, she said through tears. Yes, he transferred money to me, but I returned everything to his family later. I just couldn't take his controlling behavior and constant suspicion. I felt like I was being monitored every second. I never wanted him to die. I just wanted to break up. Her voice cracked. Now everyone is attacking me. My family is being harassed. I don't understand. Is it wrong to want to leave someone? I handed her a tissue. Court is about evidence, I said gently. And I need you to be completely honest with me. I am, she whispered. But no one believes me. I closed the file. I'll take your case. The legal side of it wasn't complicated. The real problem was the public trial already happening online. I flew out to gather evidence. It went more smoothly than expected. There were clear records of financial transfers during their relationship, and it wasn't one-sided. The messages showed a pattern of extreme control, tracking her location, questioning her loyalty, demanding constant reassurance. She tried to communicate. She tried to compromise. Eventually, she broke and asked to end the relationship. He threatened her. She blocked him. And he made an irreversible choice. Once the evidence was in place, we moved quickly to prepare for trial. His family sued for fraud. On the day of the hearing, reporters and self-proclaimed justice warriors crowded outside the courthouse. I kept one hand on her shoulder and guided her through the crowd. Inside, everything went according to plan. Evidence. Testimony. Cross-examination. After it was over, I squeezed her shoulder. We're going to be okay. Chapter 11. After days of non-stop work, I dragged myself home, exhausted in every possible way. I was just about to text Ethan to ask what he wanted for dinner when his call came through first, his voice tight. Anna, have you seen the news? The case you're handling blew up. The internet is ugly. I opened the link he sent. Hashtag shameless lawyer defends gold digger hashtag. Hashtag disgrace to the legal profession hashtag. The comments were vicious. I closed my eyes for a second and shut the article. Officer Ethan, I asked quietly, do you also think I'm some greedy, unethical lawyer? He didn't hesitate. I trust your professionalism. And I trust your judgment. The weight in my chest eased, just a little. After hanging up, without really thinking, I turned the wheel and drove toward his station. Sitting in the car, I debated whether to wait for him to get off work or go up and surprise him. Then I saw him walk out. With a woman. And in his arms, a little boy. 3, maybe 4 years old. The woman looked exhausted, eyes red, speaking to him in a low voice. Ethan, I was wrong back then. After we broke up, I felt guilty too. I knew I was being practical. I never blamed you, he said calmly. He took an envelope from his pocket and handed it to her. She shook her head. I can't take your money. He pushed it back. It's for the child. My first reaction was completely irrational. That's marital property. Ethan put the child into the car. The woman followed. I stopped recording, fingers shaking, and called him. I'm home. Where are you? There was a brief pause. Ran into an old classmate, he said. Something came up. I'll be home a bit late. Classmate. Right. I even started wondering if the kid was his. I was already exhausted to the point of burnout. That was the moment my survival instincts flipped straight into combat mode. Chapter 12. I followed his car. Sure enough, it stopped in front of a budget hotel. Oh. So that's how it is. You dare cheat on me? I'll make sure you leave with nothing but the clothes on your back. I kept recording, jaw clenched, mind racing. Do I wait and catch them in the act, or call the police right now? For the first time, I truly understood how my clients felt. All I wanted was to storm in and take both of them down. Then I saw Ethan come out. Alone. What? That fast? Well, with his performance, even an hourly room would be a waste. Seriously, what does that woman even see in him? His age. His stamina. He spotted me and froze. Anna. Why are you here? He looked flustered. You're not misunderstanding this, are you? I switched on my voice recorder, expression cold. Don't talk. I ask. You answer. That woman. Classmate or ex-girlfriend? He pressed his lips together, clearly guilty. Classmate and ex. Perfect. Ethan, I said calmly, crossing my arms, meeting your ex-girlfriend at a hotel late at night, with money involved. As your legal spouse, I have sufficient grounds to question your conduct. He panicked. Listen to me, it's not what you think. Stop. I cut him off. What is your request? He blurted, I don't have any request. Fine. You don't. I do. I lifted my leg and kicked him straight in the crotch. You cheating bastard. With skills like that, you still dare go looking for a mistress? All confidence, zero ability. Ethan doubled over, face draining of color, veins standing out on his forehead. We really didn't do anything, he gasped. You misunderstood, she was in trouble, I was just helping. Misunderstood? Didn't catch you in bed, that's all. If you two hadn't finished so fast, I might have made it in time. At that moment, the woman ran out in a panic. Ethan. What's wrong? And, who is this? He was bent over, sweating, mortified. My wife. She froze. Attorney Anna, she said quickly, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Could I have a few minutes of your time? Chapter 13. After the chaos finally settled, Ethan's ex-girlfriend, Cindy, invited me back to the hotel. This is my son. He's almost 4. She gently pulled the shy little boy closer. He whispered, "Hello, ma'am. Today, I had a fight with my husband and called the police. It happened to be Ethan's team that responded." She lowered her head, clearly embarrassed. "I had nowhere to go, so Ethan helped us find a place to stay for the night." That was when it fully clicked. "Anna, you idiot. You're a lawyer." The moment it became personal, all your logic disappeared. She had a child with her. What kind of affair would involve a kid? "I dated Ethan briefly in college," she said softly. "His father was sick back then and needed a lot of money. He enlisted to help his family. After he joined, we barely spoke. Long distance, constant arguments. Later, another man pursued me. He had good prospects, and I chose him. So I broke up with Ethan. After that, I heard he did well in the military and was sent to officer training. I graduated, got married, and stayed home with my child. But in recent years, everything collapsed. His business failed. He started drinking. And when he drinks, he hits me. I caught it immediately." "You've been dealing with domestic violence for a long time?" "Professional reflex." She turned her face away, uncomfortable. "That's not important. What matters is, Ethan and I really have nothing. Please don't misunderstand. He only helped us today because he felt sorry for us. Ethan isn't the point." I cut in, my tone firm. "Ms. Cindy, what matters is that you need legal help." She gave a bitter smile, fingers tightening. "I can't afford a lawyer." "I won't charge you." She froze. "Not because of Ethan," I said clearly. "But because you're exactly the kind of woman this system fails. Our firm runs a pro bono program for domestic violence survivors." Cindy finally broke down, covering her face. "I don't have income. My family can't help. Every time he kneels and begs me to forgive him, and then he does it again. When I mentioned divorce, he threatened me. He said I'd never see my child again." "You will." I looked straight at her. "The child and the assets will be yours. Trust me." Hope flickered in her eyes. She thanked me through tears. Thank you both. Ethan told me his wife is a lawyer. Beautiful and kind. Seeing you today." She choked up. "You really are good people. When I broke up with him back then, he didn't blame me. He even helped me, and you didn't treat me differently because of who I am." I smiled and waved it off. People aren't made of stone. Anyone would feel for someone in pain. Especially someone they once loved. As if worried I might still feel uneasy, Cindy added, "Anna, Ethan and I didn't date long. And we never crossed any lines. I hope this won't affect your marriage. He doesn't talk much. He probably doesn't know how to deal with women, but it's obvious he really cares about you." That was when it hit me. Was she his only relationship? I thought about how awkward and flustered he'd been that night. Don't tell me. He was really a first-timer? Then I remembered what I had just done to him. "Oh no. I'll contact you tomorrow to go over the details," I said quickly. "I need to take care of some family matters first." Chapter 14. When I went downstairs, Ethan was still sitting in the car. He looked calm, but his face was a little pale. I leaned closer, guilt creeping in. "Ethan. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Does it still hurt?" He lowered his gaze, expression unreadable. "What do you think?" "Attorney Anna," he said flatly, "if someone attempted to murder her husband, how would that be handled under the law?" I glanced down at my pointed heels. I am a public menace. As a lawyer, this was the first time I'd been completely speechless. When we got home, I followed him like a repentant sinner. "Baby, should I check the injury for you?" He changed his shoes without looking up. "No." I edged closer. Then, hospital? No. Then. I opened the freezer and took out an ice pack. I read that icing helps reduce swelling. He paused. Turned. Looked at me slowly, eyes dark. Ice?
Yeah.
For swelling and pain. I laughed weakly. He suddenly pulled me closer, voice low and dangerous. Fine. Then I'll have to trouble Attorney Anna to handle it personally. My heart jumped. Then you, take off your pants. He raised an eyebrow. With a quiet click, he undid his belt, the motion lazy and slightly wicked. My eyes betrayed me. Even at rest, it was impossible to ignore. Heat rushed to my ears. My hand trembled as I held the ice pack. I shut my eyes and pressed it forward. He sucked in a sharp breath.
Ah.
Does it hurt? I blurted. I panicked and pulled back. It's cold, he said, voice tight. His throat moved. How does it feel now? I asked cautiously. He looked at me. Nothing.
Oh no.
I am going to jail. Did I actually break him? Chapter 15. I fumbled, not knowing where to look, and quickly changed the subject. So, about Cindy's domestic abuse case. I'm planning to offer her pro bono legal aid. He looked surprised, then his expression softened. Really? Thank you, Anna. Oh. So you can be gentle, just not with me. I deliberately drew out my tone, teasing him. I hear, she was your first love. Still can't let go, Officer Ethan? He immediately rushed to explain. Nyan, no, I really didn't. Didn't what? I tilted my head and smiled. Ethan, don't tell me, that was the only relationship you've ever had? He gave a quiet I spent years in the military. After I transferred, work was non-stop. I honestly didn't have time to date. I froze. It felt like a feather brushed across my heart. So that meant, that night really was his first time. I'm not exactly obsessed with virginity, but I still felt an inexplicable flicker of delight. Chastity really is a man's best dowry. I struck gold. I didn't let him off. So that was your one and only first love. She's having a hard time now. According to romance novel logic, shouldn't you be charging in, suffering dramatically, and fighting your way back to her? He frowned, clearly baffled. What kind of romance novel has values that twisted? Cheating after marriage? I'd be waiting to get fired and charged. Then he paused, his voice lowering. Honestly, seeing her abused after all these years, it didn't feel good. She was beautiful back then. Smart, too. She wanted to be a professional interpreter. Now she looks exhausted, covered in bruises. How does marriage grind an optimistic girl down like that? Her husband really deserves hell. My heart softened too. According to Cindy, her husband had been abusing and gaslighting her for years. She endured it for the sake of her child. So, you don't resent her for dumping you back then? Ethan shook his head. I was the one who wronged her. I left without warning, barely stayed in touch. I couldn't give her companionship or emotional support. Choosing someone better was normal. Then he hurried to add. Wife, I only said classmate because I was afraid you'd misunderstand. Don't. I laughed. I know. I was just teasing. It's just an ex, after all. Who doesn't have one or two, or 3 or 4 exes? The moment the words left my mouth, I regretted them. Ethan's eyes narrowed, sharp as an interrogation light. 1, 2, 3, 4. Me. Is the ice melted? I'll go get more. Chapter 16. He suddenly grabbed my hand. To my horror, I realized that something which had very much been in standby mode a moment ago was now, very much awake. How did he recover so fast? Ethan, you. I only mentioned exes. Why are you getting this motivated? Attorney Anna. He leaned in, caging me between his chest and arms. I've already given a full account of my past. Fair is fair. Shouldn't you give yours? I avoided his gaze. One of my exes. I sent him to jail. Oh. He nodded, fingers brushing over my wrist. And the remaining 3? I forgot. I tried to bluff. If I told him, this jealous man would definitely retaliate. He lowered his head, his nose nearly touching mine, breath warm. Think carefully. Confess and you'll be treated leniently. And if I resist? I challenged. He chuckled and deliberately pressed closer. Then we use force. Ethan, you. My face burned. How is he this shameless? Baby, I think it was injured today. It needs proper rest. His eyes darkened, and he laughed low. It's in excellent condition. And it urgently needs redemption.
Oh no.
I'm finished. He lifted me effortlessly and dropped me onto the bed. He really looked determined to redeem himself. Desperately proving his capability and learning curve. From awkward to confident, it took him half an hour. From the bed to the bathroom, fully demonstrating a police officer's physical stamina and alarming rate of improvement. When I was so exhausted I couldn't even lift a finger, he was still murmuring by my ear. Attorney Anna, satisfied with my performance? Where do I rank in your 1, 2, 3, 4? I had no strength left. Ethan, you're abusing power. I'm suing you. He brushed his lips against my ear and laughed. Attorney Anna, tonight. I'm going rogue. Why don't you sentence me to a few more years? This is illegal. And inhumane. And absolutely not scientifically reasonable. Chapter 17. The first thing I did when I woke up was reach for my phone. An unread message from my best friend popped up. I opened it without thinking. Girl, I lined up a bunch of younger guys today. Since you're getting divorced anyway, come out after work and start scouting early. A dangerous voice sounded behind me. Divorce? Looking for younger guys? My hand jerked and the phone nearly hit my face. No. Honey, let me explain, no, let me argue, no, let me clarify. But Ethan didn't give me time to form a sentence. He went straight into action. Using concrete evidence to prove he had absolutely nothing to do with old and worn out. I was completely destroyed. And he still forced me to help rehabilitate his image. My officer Ethan is way better than Kitty rides. I'm never divorcing again. I clutched my nearly broken waist. The worst part was I still had to be at work by 8. Someone, meanwhile, was glowing and in an excellent mood. We went downstairs together, each heading off to arresting and bailing. Just as we reached the building entrance, a strange man rushed over, pointed at me, and shouted. Isn't this that shameless lawyer? You've got nerve showing your face. He raised a plastic bottle and hurled it at me. Ethan moved instantly, pulling me behind him. One clean kick sent the man stumbling backward. Sharp. Precise. Textbook takedown. I froze. Damn. My husband is hot. The man scrambled up, took one look at Ethan's size, and bolted. My supervisor called. Anna, the online backlash is intense. Take a few days off and stay home. Protect your safety. The verdict is coming soon anyway. Ethan's brow furrowed. He was clearly uneasy. I'll take leave too and stay with you. See how things develop. It's fine. You can go to work. He shook his head, serious. There are a lot of lunatics online. Once you're targeted, they dig up everything. I'm worried it's not just your office. Your home might be exposed too. I didn't think it was that serious. Until someone uploaded a video of Ethan kicking that man. Shot from a sneaky angle, showing only the kick. Captioned with things like, police brutality, and shameless lawyer-cop couple. The internet exploded. They dug up Ethan's name and unit. Complaints poured in, demanding he be fired. After his supervisor understood the situation, Ethan was told to stay home and lie low. Chapter 18. Great. Now the two of us were officially on forced leave together. I handed Cindy's case to a colleague. The evidence was solid. Easy win. But being stuck at home and unable to go out was a different kind of torture. Eat. Sleep. Repeat. My best friend checked in. Girl, enjoying house arrest? I secretly snapped a photo of Ethan cooking in the kitchen and sent it. Pink apron. Narrow waist. Broad back. Her reply came instantly. Are you kidding me? Premium husband in bed and in the kitchen? You witch. Eating this well and never telling me? I smiled bitterly. Sometimes eating too well is also a curse. These days, if I wasn't eating, I was being thoroughly occupied. Someone was basically a perpetual motion machine. I really couldn't take it anymore. During one break, I asked the question from the depths of my soul. Ethan, be honest, how did you survive all these years? His ears turned red. He answered simply. Hands. I traced circles in his palm. Oh. Then Officer Ethan, those calluses, which weapon did you train with? Such a dedicated craftsman. His gaze darkened. He flipped me over and pinned me down, voice hoarse.
Yeah.
The skills have always been reliable. Attorney Anna want another demonstration? And just like that, those hands went to work. I was finished. How does he keep unlocking new techniques? I seriously suspect he secretly took advanced classes. How does someone improve this fast? And once he started, there was no stopping. I was genuinely falling apart. Chapter 19. Thankfully, the verdict finally came down. Just as expected, the court ruled that the boy's family had committed defamation. Public opinion flipped overnight. The online attacks against me quickly died down. Then Cindy stepped forward on her own and posted a long message on social media. Attorney Anna is the wife of my ex-boyfriend, Ethan. I know this relationship sounds awkward, but when I was being abused and had nowhere to go, she put aside personal feelings and reached out to help me for free. Officer Ethan is also a good man. When I called the police in desperation, he helped arrange a safe place for us to stay. I truly thank this couple. Without them, I would still be trapped in a dark marriage with no way out. Instantly, those who had been attacking us went silent. The narrative completely reversed. Officer Ethan protecting his wife like that is iconic. That's what a real man looks like. To those criticizing him, if your wife were in danger, wouldn't you do the same? Attorney Anna is fierce and brilliant. If she hadn't stood her ground, that girl might have been destroyed by cyberbullying. She's also taken countless pro bono cases for women and children. That's what a real advocate looks like. Curled up in Ethan's arms, I scrolled through the comments praising him and poked his chest. Officer Ethan, a lot of women are saying you're handsome. Attorney Anna, you're basically the definition of powerful and fearless now. I'm feeling a little threatened. He lowered his head and kissed my hair. Wife, you're incredible. Like a superhero. I rubbed against him and said softly. A lot of people ask why lawyers defend bad people. A professor once told us, if one day you became a defendant, wouldn't you want a lawyer to stand with you? And a lawyer's duty is to use what we know to pursue fairness and justice. Not all heroes stand in the spotlight. Chapter 20. After everything settled, Ethan and I returned to our usual rhythm. Cindy's divorce went smoothly. She got custody of her child and most of the assets. She'd been out of the workforce for years, and the job market was brutal. So she finally dropped the "I must look respectable" mindset. With her excellent cooking, high emotional intelligence, and fluent foreign languages, she became a private childcare specialist, and unexpectedly, a hot commodity. She landed a long-term position with a highly educated family and was making close to $30,000 a month. When I saw her again, she looked radiant. The confidence was back in her eyes. At home, the calls from family urging us to have a baby came one after another. Nian Yan, why is there no news yet? Is Ethan not functioning? I rubbed my temples. That's really not the issue. The real problem is our schedules look like a diplomatic crisis timetable. He makes arrests. I make bail. He responds to calls. I go to court. He's on duty. I'm in hearings. He protects the public. I barely get an appointment. That day, we finally managed to carve out half a day off together. We decided to do something normal couples do, go see a movie. Just after parking, a figure suddenly collapsed in front of our car with an exaggerated cry. A middle-aged man clutched his leg and wailed like he'd been hit by a truck. You hit me. Pay up. Ethan and I exchanged a look and said in unison. Mine. Jackpot. I immediately pulled out my phone to record. Sir, just to inform you, you're currently in our dashcam's blind spot, but I am recording this interaction. This may be used as evidence. What you're doing can be considered attempted fraud. Ethan popped the trunk, grabbed his badge, and clipped it on in one smooth motion. Police. Sir, you're suspected of attempted fraud. You need to cooperate. He then called in. Dispatch, I've got a suspected scammer at the theater parking lot. Requesting backup. The man sprang up instantly. I must have remembered wrong. It wasn't this car. Ethan didn't even blink. Sir. Don't move. He pressed him down by the shoulder. As we walked out of the station later, his colleagues were laughing uncontrollably. Captain Ethan, Attorney Anna, even on dates you two don't stop working? With this level of dedication, you should be nominated as Law Enforcement Power Couple of the Year. Ethan replied calmly. Just doing our jobs. I hooked his arm and smiled. Occupational hazard. Chapter 21. After the small incident, we finally settled into our seats and picked a horror movie. Right at the climax, the entire theater was screaming. A guy in the front row suddenly stood up. Seriously? Not scary at all. I'm out. The moment he said it, Ethan stood up. He stepped over the seats and slammed the man back into his chair. Don't move. Police. He twisted the man's arm behind his back and, in one smooth motion, pulled several phones and wallets from his pockets. Still not scary enough for you? Ethan asked coolly. The thief's face drained of color. That was terrifying. Why are there undercover cops at the movies? Ethan sneered. You've been pickpocketing since the opening scene. Every time you stole a phone, you complained about the movie. You're more dedicated than the staff. To a round of applause, he escorted the thief out. Honestly, it was more exciting than the movie. Chapter 22. When we got home, I saw a message from my best friend. How was the date? Romantic? I quietly sent 2 photos. Operation report, assisted in the apprehension of 2 suspects. Date review, highly criminal, extremely cuff-worthy. She replied. Your dates really do come with sentencing guidelines. I laughed and forwarded the screenshots to Ethan. Accidentally added a smiling through the pain a meme. Ethan came out of the shower, picked up his phone, and glanced at it. Then he looked at me slowly, meaningfully. You really know how to entertain yourself, wife. I leaned over and froze. I had accidentally sent the explicit GIF my friend shared earlier. The one captioned, "Whoever you catch is tonight's special." Ethan, wait, that was a missend. He chuckled, set the phone down, and walked toward me. Wife, let's start with the first one. Oh. That's how it works? You like this position? I was finished. Even though it's been a while and I do miss him. Living like this, starving one day, overfed the next, is too much for anyone. I begged weakly. Officer Ethan, go arrest someone. He laughed against my ear. Not arresting anyone today. Manufacturing one.